A baby is crying, fussing, completely inconsolable. You pick them up and start walking. Almost instantly, the crying stops. Their whole body relaxes. Put them back down in the crib, though, and the crying often starts right back up again. Every tired parent has experienced this exact pattern. But why does it happen so reliably? Scientists actually studied this exact question, and they found something genuinely precise happening in the body. It's not just a coincidence, and it's not just about comfort either. It's a specific, measurable biological reflex. And remarkably, the exact same reflex shows up in baby mice too. Let's get into it. In 2013, a team of researchers published a detailed study on this exact behavior. They measured infants' heart rate, crying, and movement while being carried by a walking parent. The results were remarkably consistent. Infants almost immediately stopped crying and stopped moving. Their heart rate also dropped rapidly within just a few seconds of being picked up and walked with. Researchers gave this coordinated set of reactions an official name, the transport response. Here's the specific detail that makes this research genuinely fascinating. The same calming effect did not occur nearly as strongly when a parent held the baby while simply sitting still. Walking specifically, not just holding, appears to be the critical ingredient in triggering this response. This means it's not purely about touch or comfort alone. Motion itself plays a genuinely central role. It's part of why gentle rocking in a stationary bassinet often doesn't work nearly as well as an actual walk. This same research also carefully examined that frustrating moment every parent knows all too well. The instant a calm, carried infant is set back down, crying often resumes within just seconds. Researchers found this happens because both key ingredients, motion and physical support, disappear at once. The sudden loss of that combined sensory input appears to reactivate the same alertness that carrying had suppressed. This is exactly why many parents instinctively keep gently swaying even after they've technically stopped walking. It's an intuitive attempt to preserve at least part of that same calming sensation a little longer. Researchers dug even deeper to figure out exactly which senses were driving this specific response. They found two ingredients were essential: gentle physical support and the sensation of movement through space. That second one relies on the vestibular system, the same inner ear system responsible for your sense of balance. Surprisingly, sight, hearing, and smell didn't seem to be required to trigger the core calming response. It's a very specific, almost mechanical combination: secure touch plus real, physical motion together. Here's the part that genuinely surprised the researchers themselves. Mouse pups show the exact same pattern. When a mother mouse picks up her pup by the scruff and moves, the pup instantly goes still and calm. Researchers even found this response makes the pup easier and safer for the mother to carry quickly. A calm, still infant is simply easier to transport than one who's actively squirming and crying. This strongly suggests the reflex evolved for a practical reason, shared across very different mammal species. So what's the actual evolutionary logic behind this reflex existing at all? In the wild, a mother sometimes needs to move her vulnerable infant quickly, often to escape real danger. A calm, still infant during that critical movement is safer for both the infant and the parent carrying them. Crying and struggling during an urgent escape could slow the parent down or draw unwanted attention. Natural selection likely favored infants who calmed down automatically the moment they were picked up and moved. This connects to a much bigger evolutionary story about how different primates handle their infants. Researchers studying primates described two broad strategies: species that park infants and species that ride with them. Park species leave infants hidden somewhere safe while foraging, returning periodically to care for them. Ride species carry their infants constantly, wherever they go, throughout most of the day. Humans and most primates fall firmly into this second, ride-based category. Human babies are also born especially physically immature compared to many other mammals, needing even more support. This is partly linked to how our upright walking posture limits the size of the birth canal. Being born earlier in development means human infants rely heavily on being carried and closely supported after birth. This isn't just theoretical either. A real, practical study tested it directly with actual families. In a classic 1986 study, Researchers had one group of parents carry their babies significantly more each day. Infants in that increased carrying group showed measurably less overall crying across the entire day. It wasn't just about stopping crying in the moment. More carrying meaningfully reduced crying overall, day to day. This gave real, practical evidence supporting what many parents had already suspected from experience alone. There's a closely related practice worth mentioning too: skin-to-skin contact, sometimes called kangaroo care. This is especially well studied in premature infants cared for in hospital settings. Skin-to-skin contact has been shown to help regulate a newborn's temperature, heart rate, and breathing. It's a related but distinct comfort mechanism, layering closeness and warmth on top of the carrying response itself. Beyond this precise reflex, there's also a broader emotional layer happening during carrying too. Close physical contact is associated with the release of oxytocin, sometimes nicknamed the bonding hormone. This hormone plays a meaningful role in strengthening the emotional connection between parent and infant over time. So carrying works on two levels at once: an immediate physical reflex and a slower, deeper emotional bonding process. Both layers likely reinforce each other, making carrying beneficial in more than just one single way. Quick pause before we continue. Take a guess. Do you think this same calming response continues working the same way as babies get older? It gradually changes. The strongest version of this specific reflex is most reliable in the first several months of life. Older babies and toddlers still enjoy being carried, but the response becomes more emotional than purely reflexive. Let's clear up a few common myths before we wrap up. Myth 1. Any kind of holding calms a baby exactly the same way, whether you're sitting or standing still. Not accurate. Research specifically found walking motion produced a much stronger calming effect than stationary holding. Myth 2. This calming reflex is somehow unique to human babies alone. Not true. Mouse pups show a strikingly similar calming response when carried by their mother. Myth 3. Babies who want to be carried constantly are simply being spoiled or overly demanding. Not accurate. This is a deeply rooted biological response, not a behavioral choice or manipulation. Myth 4. Rocking a baby in a stationary swing works exactly as well as carrying them while walking. Not quite. Real walking motion appears to be considerably more effective at triggering the full calming response. Myth 5. Babies immediately crying again after being put down means something is specifically wrong. Not necessarily. It's often simply the sudden loss of combined motion and support reactivating natural alertness. Myth 6. This calming response works identically no matter who is doing the carrying. The core reflex itself doesn't require a specific person, though babies often show added comfort with a familiar caregiver. Let's wrap up with a few fun extra facts. This same basic principle is part of why car rides so reliably calm many fussy infants. The steady motion of driving closely resembles the physical sensation of being carried while walking. Baby carriers and wraps that keep infants close during movement may work partly through this exact same mechanism. Some researchers believe this reflex may even connect to why gentle, rhythmic movement soothes people at any age. It's a great example of a simple, everyday parenting instinct turning out to have real, precise science behind it. Okay, let's bring this all together. Babies calm down when carried because of a specific, measurable reflex researchers call the transport response. Walking motion specifically, combined with secure touch, is the key trigger, more than touch alone. This same reflex appears in mouse pups too, suggesting a deep, shared evolutionary origin across mammals. Human infants are especially reliant on carrying, being born more physically immature than many other mammals. Real-world research even shows that more overall carrying meaningfully reduces total daily crying. All from one simple, everyday parenting instinct that turns out to be rooted in genuine, precise biology. If this answered a question you never knew you had, that's exactly what this channel is about. So if you enjoyed this, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and it takes about 2 seconds. Drop a comment and tell me which part surprised you the most. Was it the mouse-pup connection? The walking versus sitting difference? Let me know. And if you like this video, go ahead and tap that like button. It's a small click that genuinely helps this channel keep growing. There are hundreds of everyday questions just like this one waiting to be explored. Things about early life almost every parent has wondered about, but never actually researched. That's what this channel is all about. Toggling your curiosity on, one question at a time. One more thing before you go. Tap that notification bell too, so you actually see it when the next video drops. Next time, we're tackling why flamingos stand on one leg for hours without falling over. It's a surprisingly clever energy-saving trick, and you will not guess the mechanism. I'll see you in the next one.